What's going on, Titan Nation? How's everybody doing? Welcome into Titans and Truth. I am your host, Chris, aka Blue Enforcer, and we are going to have a great and exciting show for you here today. Now, we're going to go ahead and take care of business on this. Definitely want to let everybody know that you can still show up here on Titans and Truth. You can support the show. Check out Titans and Truth fan page on Facebook. Also check out my Instagram at Titans in Truth as Titans_in_truth. Also on Twitter at TNT Blue Enforcer, and also the website at www.titansandtruth.wixsite.com /Titans and Truth. You can definitely check out a lot of material, and you can also check out a lot of things that are going to be coming up on the show as we get closer to the season, since we are right at 49 days until kickoff. Well, I'm sorry, 50 days until kickoff. I was off by a day. 50 days until kickoff of the regular season. And we are 1 week away from training camp. So that is going to be extremely a big time. So I'm very excited about that. And so today's show is a little bit of a training camp preview. We're going to be talking offense today. So that's going to be the big story, is offense. Next week, right before training camp begins, I will talk about defense and what I would look for, and also, the roster, position battles. What are going to be some of the big battles that are going to be happening in training camp as we get closer to the regular season. But before we do get into that, first off, I want to give some news and notes. Excuse me for that. Some news and notes. First off, big praise to the one and only DeMarco Murray. I know he was only a Titan for 2 years. He announced his retirement at the age of 30 after 7 seasons. And so I definitely give big props to DeMarco Murray. Was a great Titan in two-tone blue. I was excited to get to see him these last 2 years. Led the AFC in rushing his first year, and then last year a maybe less than stellar performance, but still pretty decent anyway. He had those big moments, especially in the game against the Seattle Seahawks, that he had that big touchdown run that kind of helped seal the game in that one against Seattle. I was there for that one, and that was a very exciting game. Also, he had the big game against the Cincinnati Bengals as well, leading us to victory on that one. So, DeMarco, hats off to you, sir. I think he has a home here in Nashville, so I think he's going to be staying here. He retired. Much congratulations on a very nice career for DeMarco Murray. So I'm definitely proud that he was a Titan. Other news, of course, Jarrell Casey was in London promoting the big international game. Of course, the Titans are going to be going over to London in October to play the Los Angeles Chargers. And while he was promoting the game, of course, had some controversial comments that has become a huge topic, and that is he's talking about he will continue to protest amidst the new national anthem policy that was set up by Roger Goodell. And of course, the rule is you either stand out on the field and give proper respect to the anthem and to the flag, or you could stay in the locker room and come out afterwards. But if you protest at any point while on the field, and I guess that includes the fist up or any kneeling, then the team is subject to a fine. The team is subject to a fine. Now, I don't think individuals can get fined by the NFL, but I think teams can fine individuals. So we'll have to see how that goes from there. I mean, I know there are going to be a lot of people that make a really, really big deal out of all of this. Me personally, I don't. I mean, I think you have the right to do whatever you feel is necessary. A lot of people think that if you protest against the anthem, you are disrespecting the flag and that you're disrespecting the country. I don't think that's what he's doing. I don't think that's what he's doing at all. And the fact of the matter is, he said it himself that he's protested against social injustice, which I definitely understand because there is a lot of social injustice. There has been police brutality, and that is an issue that needs to be discussed. And of course, the NFL has found another way to drop the ball on this issue, which I'm not really going to get a lot into that. I mean, I don't really get into politics, and that's not what this show is about. We're not going to get into no politics here today. So, I mean, I think, you know, if Jarrell wants to do that, he knows the penalty. Now, I would say he needs to talk to Coach Vrabel. He needs to talk to John Robinson and maybe even Amy Adams Strunk. Just let him know what his feel is about this, because, you know, he wants the team to support him, and at the same time, you don't want this to become a distraction. I know there are going to be people out there that think, oh, this is a big distraction. Jurrell Casey's not being a team player and all this and that. And if anybody thinks that about Jurrell Casey, you could not be any further from the truth. Jurrell Casey has been the ultimate team player for a very long time. And I mean, he's been dedicated to this team from the beginning. So, you know, if he says, hey, I can pay the fine, then hey, he can pay the fine. He just signed a 4-year, $60 million contract extension. So, I mean, he's got the money. So, I don't see that being an issue. I mean, you have the freedom to do whatever you feel is necessary. If it's me, I'll probably stay in the locker room. You know, that way you don't have no chance of getting fined, and yet you kind of make your point. So that's just me. But I don't want to get all into that. Hey, Jurrell Casey is going to have my support no matter what. He's a Titan through and through. He's been a Titan for a long time, and I'm going to stick with him. So, but yes, and now we're getting into the training camp part. I mean, like I said before, training camp is a week away. Football is right here, y'all. Preseason game, first preseason game is going to be August 9th, so that's in a few weeks. And then, you know, 50 days from now, well, really about 52 days from now, the Titans kick off in Miami against the Miami Dolphins on September 9th. Of course, the first preseason game will be August 9th in Green Bay against the Green Bay Packers. So, very excited that football is back. Sitting here, seeing that the baseball all-star game was going on, I was kind of depressed. I didn't really care to watch it. The World Cup was going on. I didn't really get a chance to watch a lot of that. I did watch the finals, which was actually a pretty exciting game. And then, it's a lull. Once, the draft ends and free agency ends, the NBA season ends, it's a lull. The World Cup kind of tried to fill it and everything. And I mean, I watched a little bit of tennis, but I'm glad to get back to football. Football is the cash cow, and that's what everybody loves to see. So I'm glad football is back, and we are going to get ready to enjoy some good old football. They got training camp. The training camp is coming up. I'm going to put the schedule up for you, and so this is going to be the schedule of everything going on. You got it from July 26th up until around August 16th. That is going to be all the practices. The majority of the practices are going to be in the morning from like 9:50 a.m. to 12 noon. So you are going to be able to go to some of those practices. It's a couple of practices against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers that are open to the fans. Also, they have on August 3rd, the game, they're going to have the scrimmage at Centennial High School as well. And then the very next night, very next afternoon, there will be a practice at Nissan Stadium. Now, it's going to be sweltering hot, no doubt about that. But it's going to be okay. I mean, you get to see the Titans practice and everything with that. That's going to be huge. I look forward to all of that, and I will definitely be bringing you some of the best coverage that I could get for you, and definitely give you some highlights, and definitely try to see if I can maybe get some clips and stuff like that. So that's some things that are going to be coming up very, very soon. And so now, I have a very special guest coming on the line via telephone. I have a man that needs no introduction. You're going to hear from him in just a second. Mr. Cory Curtis of News Channel 2, Sports Director at News 2, coming on with us. to talk Titans and talk training camp, and we're going to get into some exciting things here. All right, Titan Nation, we got a very, very special guest online with us via telephone. This is the man that probably needs no introduction, but I'm going to give one anyway. Ladies and gentlemen, from WKRN News Channel 2 here in Nashville, I have the famous Mr. Cory Curtis on the line with me right now. Hey, Cory, how you doing today?
I think infamous might be more than famous. I'm good. It's a beautiful day in Music City, and training camp is right around the corner, so everything is good.
Yes, it is. And speaking of which, yes, training camp is definitely around the corner. You know, a little over a week away. Really, about a week away, actually. And my first question to you is, what are you most looking forward to seeing out of these Tennessee Titans as training camp gets started, and we know that the season's about to begin?
I think for me, I'm excited to see a healthy Corey Davis and a healthy Marcus Mariota working together. I think they're both special players, and I think I want to see what they can do together when they're both 100% with a full offseason together behind them. I'm excited to see those two guys and what they can make happen. I'm also excited to see what Matt LaFleur can design to get some of these guys' balls in space where they can create with the balls in their hand after they make the catch. Those are a couple things I really want to watch.
Yeah, and that is definitely something that I've always wondered about is with Matt LaFleur, what type of system do you think he's going to run? I mean, do you think it's going to be, I've heard a lot of zone blocking and things like that, but do you think it'll be a little bit more, maybe a little bit more pass happy, maybe 60-40 pass more so than the run?
Well, I mean, look at the last couple of offenses he's been involved with. They've been prolific pass offenses, but they've been set up with the run. You go back to last year with Todd Gurley in Los Angeles, that needs no explanation. I mean, that guy is an elite running back, one of the top 2 or 3 in the entire National Football League, and I believe he caught over 50 passes last year as well. And then you go back to the years before, where was he? He was in Atlanta, where they had a two-headed monster with Devontae Freeman and Tevin Coleman.
Yep.
Really similar backs who could both run the football but could also catch the football. So I expect to see the Titans put an emphasis on the run game, continue to put an emphasis on the run game and play action. But last year with DeMarco being hurt, they couldn't use him in the passing game as much as they did the year before, and that hurt them because he was a nice safety valve for Mariota. I expect, especially with Dion Lewis, for them to use those backs a lot more in the passing game this year, just based on the offenses that LaFleur's been associated with in years past. So I think the running backs will be a heavy emphasis in this offense, and so will play action.
Oh, I definitely like that because, I mean, with play action, Marcus was very, very efficient when it comes to the play action plays that were able to generate some big yards. So in speaking with position groups, and we're going to go, everywhere with this, which position group, and I know you mentioned the running back, which position group are you really most looking forward to seeing?
I guess it's the wide receivers because they have the most questions to answer just because Corey was hurt so much of last year and Tajay missed all of last year. And I think last year was kind of a bust for Taywan Taylor. I know a lot of fans locally are still really excited about him, and I think he's got a lot of ability. But last year for me was a disappointment with him. I think, if that group can step up 50%, 30% from where it was last year, you could absolutely get some things. So we're gonna have to wait and see what that group can do. I think there's big play potential there. I'm a huge fan of Corey Davis and his ability. I'm a huge fan of Rashard Matthews and his toughness and ability to move the chains. I know, I've heard people talk about Dez Bryant. Look at Dez Bryant's numbers the last 3 years compared to Rashard Matthews. Matthews absolutely crushes him. I think he's an underrated football player, not just on this team, but in the league. And then if Taywan can just, start to elevate his game, become a consistent contributor, then they could have something. And I think an underrated guy to watch out for, I don't know if he's going to make the team or not, but I'm looking for him to make the team, is Kevin Williams. And you might be asking yourself, who the heck is Kevin Williams?
Yeah.
He was with Matt LaFleur both in Atlanta and in Washington. So he knows LaFleur, he knows what he wants to do, and he's that little slot receiver who always seems to show up a half a yard beyond the marker on third down. And I think he's a guy. The Titans have brought in 100 wide receivers this offseason who are like 5'9" and 190 pounds. So they are looking for that skill set from somebody to step through, and I'm putting my money on Kevin Williams.
All right, I definitely like that because I mean that would definitely be a name that I'm not familiar with, and hopefully that's a name we hear a lot about. Now, I know you mentioned the wide receivers having a lot of questions. I would say besides them, would there be a position group that may be coming into camp you still have questions about or concerned about?
Well, hell yeah. I got questions about the offensive line. I mean, Jack Conklin's probably going to start the season on the PUP list. You know, the interior offensive line wasn't great last year. It was a down year for those guys. Now, I believe the zone blocking scheme especially is going to benefit Josh Klein, and I think the contract he got suggests the Titans think the same thing. You know, he's getting like $6 million a year, which I was stunned to see. But he's not a big mauler on the inside. He's a guy who's going to be a little bit better when they get him on the move. So he's got to play better. Quentin Spain's got to play better. Ben Jones has got to play better. And can a guy like Kevin Panfield come in and compete with those guys? Because I think they want him to. And then can they get Taylor Lewan's situation resolved? And I've got questions about the running backs. I mean, I love Dion Lewis. I love his skill set. But the fact remains, he has played 16 games one time in his entire career. And the Titans do not have another player on their roster who duplicates his skill set. So if he gets hurt, they have to change their offense. They don't have the same player waiting in the wings. And Derrick Henry has to prove to me he can run with more toughness. I know I've got people who are ready to throw something at me right now. He is not a good short yardage running back. He runs tall. He doesn't lower his pads. He doesn't push the pile. He runs with a stiff arm. But when it comes to short yardage, he has got to learn to plow into that line and get what's there instead of bouncing to the outside and losing 5 yards.
I agree with that. I mean, hopefully too many fans don't try to run you out of town with that comment right there. But I definitely understand where you're coming from because I think what I've noticed is that Derrick Henry is trying to work more on pass blocking, which is necessary because that was something that he definitely had some trouble with last season. Pass blocking because if you remember in the playoff game against Kansas City, Marcus got lit up. He got lit up. Yeah, Derek Johnson just came in and lit Marcus Mariota up because of a missed assignment.
The Titans are lucky he finished that game.
Yes, that is very, very true indeed. And speaking of the offensive line, we got to take care of the elephant in the room. And I have to notice you're an expert. You're an expert, and you're definitely one of my mentors that I listen to. Taylor Lewan, you got to let me know. Is he going to be signed by next Thursday?
You know what? We're in uncharted waters here. We haven't seen the Titans in this position since, Chris Johnson? Where they've had an elite player want more money. And he should want more money. His agents should demand more money. He should get the contract to be the highest paid offensive lineman in the league. I mean, Nate Solder makes 15.5. Is there anybody in two-tone blue who's going to tell me that Taylor Lewan isn't better than Nate Solder?
Absolutely not.
He's better, and he's younger. I mean, and he's one of your own, and you know what he is. So for me, I say pay the man. But the simple fact is he's under contract for $9 million, and even if they don't sign him to an extension this year, they could still franchise him for 2 more years. And I'm sure they're using that in negotiations. But listen, this is the team that gave Jarrell Casey a $5 million a year raise last year when he didn't even ask for one. So
that's true.
You've shown a precedent that you're willing to pay your elite players. He is an elite player. To me, arguably, their very best player. And also at a very important position. So to me, you've got 52 other guys on the roster who are watching to see not just how much money Taylor gets, but how he's handled by this team. Is this a good experience? Is there trust involved? Do they feel like when their time is up, they're going to be treated with respect, or are they going to be treated like a slab of meat? I think this is really important. Not beyond Taylor Lewan. This is a far-reaching negotiation for the Tennessee Titans, and I think one that they've got to consider big picture on. Now, that doesn't mean I think they should just throw the Brinks truck at him and just give him whatever he wants, because these long-term deals very rarely work out well for teams. Just ask the Houston Texans, who gave J.J. Watt $100 million 2 years ago, and since then he's given them 6 games and 1.5 sacks. But Taylor has been healthy and he's been productive, and he's been a team guy. I mean, I've heard that talks are ongoing. I've heard that progress has been made in some fronts, but until I hear they've got a deal done, I'm just not going to believe they're going to get it done.
That's a very excellent point, and you're absolutely right. Because I mean, with Taylor Lewan, his contract, is a big issue. And then, I mean, you think about it like this, like you said, we're in uncharted territory because I mean, just once Taylor Lewan is signed, which I do believe he will get signed, that doesn't mean it's over. Because I mean, in about less than 10 months from now, what's going to be next?
Next
That
year
was
you've got
Mariota. You got Marcus Mariota and Kevin Byard. You're correct on that. And we've always said, what are the 4 prime positions of a football team? Quarterback, left tackle, pass rusher, cornerback. And we could probably throw safety in there because Kevin Byard is going to probably be one of the best in the NFL. Now, I've been watching this Igniting the Fire series, and I've actually been kind of impressed with it a little bit. I kind of like some of the stuff that they're doing. Have you watched any of the Igniting the Fire at all? And if so, what do you think about it at all?
Well, I watched some of it. I think the production value's been really good. It doesn't look like it's just been thrown together. And, listen, the Titans need to be doing this type of stuff. They need to be pushing out material, information, behind-the-scenes stuff on their football team, because fans, this is the stuff that fans want to see, and a lot of it's the access that they won't give us,
Yes.
and they can control the message. And I think that's the other thing that you've got to consider when you watch this stuff. All news is sunshine and rainbows. They're not going to tell you anything bad or questionable about the football team, but still, it's an opportunity to see, hear, listen, and they need to give fans those opportunities because, frankly, they've got carte blanche to do it. And they've released it every week at the same time, giving fans something to look forward to. So I give them an A for effort, and I commend them on the outreach. And I think you're just going to see nothing but more of this from the Titans and really from the NFL in the future as they look to extend control over their product and what's put out there.
Yes, and I definitely like the production part of it too, because I mean, you get to kind of get a little bit closer with the players. Yeah, they're probably not giving away secrets of what offense or the defense is going to look like, but for example, last night they were talking with the linebackers, and I think Arakpo was ecstatic that they have them in 2 separate groups with inside linebackers getting their own teaching, outside linebackers getting their own teaching, and they think that's better for a whole, which I think that's going to be a great benefit because instead of trying to do it all, you focus on a specific group. And that's something I'm very impressed with. Kerry Coombs, full of energy.
Yeah.
Everybody seems to love him.
I think everybody's excited about Kerry Coombs just because of the energy he brings and the history of #1 draft picks that are kind of connected to him.
Yes.
And he's a guy with no NFL experience, but has drawn some kind of immediate respect from some pretty established NFL players. Now, he's still got to prove it. I mean, it's like Mike Vrabel. Mike Vrabel, I think is a pretty good teacher, and I think those linebackers are really going to benefit from having him around. I mean, just look at a guy like Whitney Merciless in Houston, who really took his game to another level when he got with Mike Vrabel. But Mike Vrabel still has to prove he's more than a positional coach. He was a defensive coordinator for 1 year, and his defense was dead last in the NFL, and he's never been a head coach in the National Football League. Teacher, yes. Head coach, that question still has to be answered.
Absolutely. And Corey, we're going to get you out of here on one last question. Kind of a good personal question for me. Personally as a up and coming broadcaster myself. You're working with WKRN here in Nashville with News Channel 2. I just want to know personally, and maybe for some of the listeners who might be, wanting to get into the field as well, what is the best aspect of your position as far as what you do with the Titans, with the Predators, with other teams? What is your best aspect of the position?
Well, listen, my job's changed a lot over the years. I mean, it is not the same business that I got into. I have a lot more responsibilities than I used to have that prevent me from doing a lot of things that I really like. Because what I really like is being at games. And it's not just because I'm, a fanboy just, cheering on a team. I love the drama of professional sports. Everybody watches all these reality shows. Professional sports are the original reality series on TV, and it plays out in a 3-hour drama every game. And to see the layers unfold and to see players rise and fall, that's why I'm in sports, because I love to watch those things unfold. I love some of the personal stories as well, but just the drama of the game, the strategy, the emotions, nothing beats it. I mean, when a game goes down to the wire, when you see the Patriots put a comeback like that together in the Super Bowl, it's jaw-dropping, and it's something you never forget. I'm going to tell you, there aren't a whole lot of episodes of Survivor that I'll never forget.
Yeah, now that is definitely true, because I mean, one thing that I enjoy personally when I'm at games is the atmosphere. You get the feel from the crowd as well as on the field or in Bridgestone Arena on the ice. When the Predators are playing, it is electric, and I just enjoy it being around the people and things like that, because it really makes it so much fun. That's why I like going to games live, as opposed to watching them on television. You get that whole feel of the game.
There's a couple games I'll never forget. When that first Game 6, when the Predators won their first playoff series and beat the Ducks.
Yes.
I walked into that building in the third period, and the moment I opened the door, this wave of energy hit me, and I felt like the whole building was on air that final 20 minutes. And I'll never forget. Remember the Code Blue game with the Colts when the Titans started that season like 10 or 13-0 back in 2008?
Yes.
That night with Code Blue with Peyton Manning in town?
Yeah.
That was the last time I really felt like Nissan Stadium was electric, because that was an electric night.
And it's got to get back to that. I think it will get back to that. So I definitely enjoyed that. But any last ways that anybody can follow you or find you or anything?
Well, I mean, of course I'm on News 2, but I always want to recommend everybody. I know you follow my Facebook page, WKRN Cory Curtis. Especially as we get into the season. I don't have a lot of time at 6 and 10. I try to offer a lot more of my real thoughts, my opinion, my analysis on that page each and every week. I do things like power rankings, fantasy suggestions. I do some analysis of the Titans that is sometimes popular and sometimes is not very popular. But we can go a little bit deeper there. And so at Cory Curtis 2 on Twitter, and then WKRN Cory Curtis on Facebook. And I know the younger kids may not be on Facebook quite as much, but that's where my deeper stuff is, if you could join in.
All right. Well, everybody, this has been Mr. Cory Curtis of News 2 on the line with us. Cory, thank you so much for your time and everything. And we'll be catching you soon. And we got more coming up.
All right. Thanks for including me, Chris. Enjoy the season.
Hey, thanks. And definitely a very, very big special thank you to Cory Curtis of News 2 for coming on and doing that interview. And I want to give a little bit of insight to what he was talking about on there. So when he was talking about Derrick Henry, yeah, I know there's a lot of Alabama fans here in Nashville. Don't cut the man's head off on this one, y'all. Don't crush him. He's just telling some truth. He got some very good insight on this team. And there's a lot of things that Derrick Henry can improve on. Like we mentioned, he's got to get better in pass blocking. He's got to do better in pass blocking. He's got to do better at catching passes out of the backfield, because that's going to be required in this offense under Matt LaFleur. He's going to have to be able to do some things in the passing game. That is a big reason why they brought in Dion Lewis. That is a big point to that, is to have weapons that can do multiple things. Now, and I'm going to go into this preview in a minute about this entire offense. So that's definitely going to be more. But there's a lot that I want to get into about Cory Curtis, what he was saying. And we're going to get into this offense. But first, I want to give out a big shout out to my cousin, my homegirl, Miss LaCrystal Cleveland and Craft Gasman Creations. big supporter of Titans and Truth, and definitely a maker of the Titans and Truth t-shirt. You see me wear them. You see me in my navy t-shirt. You've also seen me in my baby blue sweatshirt, and also you see me in my gray hoodie. You're going to see me in that all season long. So definitely get with her. You can hit her up on Facebook at Craft Gasmic Creations. You can also hit her up at LaCrystal Cleveland on Facebook. Also on Instagram, it is at Craft Gasmic Creations. I believe that is Craft Gasmic _creations on Facebook. Definitely hit her up. And if you want a shirt just like this, hit her up and tell her that Chris of Titans and Truth sent you. And, she'll work with you. And she can definitely get that to you. She can send it to you. If you want a shirt just like the ones that I have, you could definitely get down with Craft Gasmic Creations and get that shirt. I want to see some people in Titans and Truth gear, so definitely hit her up and she can get you that shirt or the sweatshirt or a hoodie. You too can wear Titans and Truth gear. I'm telling you, it's a big deal out there, so definitely hit her up. And also, and then also another supporter of the show is Miss Allison Conley at Rose Jewels Boutique. If you want some jewelry, you want to look good, you want something unique, ladies, you can definitely find something that's unique that you can make unique about you. Definitely, fellas, she got she can make necklaces and bracelets for you as well. So something for the fellas too. Definitely hit her up at Rose Jewels Boutique as well. So I know she has a little bit of a busy schedule going on right now, but definitely contact her if you're really serious about that. And you could definitely get you some bling bling put on and everything, so you'll be looking good too. But quickly, we're going to get into the offense, and we're going to preview the offense and talk about the position battles and everything that's going on. And we're going to take a look and see who could emerge as making the final 53. Now, on this offense, there's a lot of questions that are going to be answered this season about how this offense is going to look, the way that it's going to be ran, and basically, is this going to become a more pass-happy offense? I mean, I think this offense is going to be way better than what last year's offense looked like and how archaic and dinosaur and extinct it was. Looked like an offense that was ran from the 1940s. But there's still a lot of work to be done. We don't know exactly how Matt LaFleur is going to call the plays. This is his first time ever calling plays. This is a big step for him in becoming a head coach one day. And if the offense goes really well, he's not going to be offensive coordinator very long. He's going to be somebody's head coach next year. So this is a big year for the offense. We got to find out what type of offense this is going to be. We haven't really had any signs of finding out what type of offense that the Titans are going to run. But I can tell you, I think it's going to be a lot more explosive than we have seen in the past. Gone are going to be the days of the 2 tight end sets and just 2 receivers. You're probably going to see a lot of 3 and 4 receiver sets. Delaney Walker's probably going to be the main tight end that's in there. And, I mean, you may see a couple of 2 tight end sets, but you're probably not going to see a lot. You're probably going to see a lot of 3 wide receiver sets out of this offense, and you're going to see probably a little bit more spreading out of the football, which I definitely like. I think this offense could fit definitely to Marcus Mariota's best skills. And so that's something that I'm looking forward to. I think there's a pretty good relationship being developed between Marcus Mariota and Matt LaFleur. I think that's going to pay off dividends to that. And, that's something that's going to be very key and very, very important going forward is that relationship. Will that transpire into victories? And that's what we're going to find out. So let's take a look at each of the positions and maybe see if there's some position battles that we're looking for and maybe a dark horse player that we're not thinking about that could possibly make this team. First, we're going to start with the quarterback position. And, you got Marcus, of course, he's going to be starting. This is a very, very, very important year for him. This is a big year for him. If he steps up and can limit the interceptions and maybe get more passing yards, maybe get around 3,500 to 4,000 passing yards, maybe get up to close to 30 touchdowns on the year, I think that's a big year for him. Maybe limit the interceptions, get it down to under 10. That could be a big year because he's going to get paid next year. That is a big stat. That's going to be a big point. And right now, we have to know if Marcus Mariota is going to be the future. I mean, he's guaranteed for another year next year because we did pick up his 5th-year option. But after that, we got to see if he's going to be worth being paying almost $30 million a year to be our starting quarterback and being one of the highest paid quarterbacks in the NFL. This year, we're going to find that out. And the main key, and I forgot to mention this, staying healthy. He hasn't made it through a 16-game season yet. I mean, the first year he went through 12. The last 2 years he's gotten through 15. But we need him to go a full 16 games and maybe more with the playoffs without, getting hurt or anything like that. So that's going to be extremely important for him and going forward for his future. Behind him, you got Blaine Gabbert, a very solid, a very good backup. I like that situation more than Matt Castle. Blaine Gabbert proved last year he could win a few games when stepping in for somebody. He stepped in for Carson Palmer last year, got some big wins, of course, against us, which was not really much of a matchup, and the Jacksonville Jaguars, to name a few. So, I mean, that could pay very big dividends to the Titans going down the road. And I feel better about that. If something were to happen to Marcus, Blaine Gabbert could step right in and, maybe this offense doesn't lose much of a beat. And then, of course, you got third, Luke Falk, our sixth-round draft pick out of Washington State. And one thing about this, I say, is that I think they're going to keep 3 quarterbacks on the roster. They're not going to risk Luke Falk being on the practice squad and somebody else scooping him up, because if he ends up on the practice squad, he's not going to be on our practice squad very long. Somebody's going to scoop him up and make him a part of their roster. So I think what's going to happen is that they're going to stay with 3 quarterbacks going forward. I think Marcus, of course, will be the starter. Blaine Gabbert is the backup. Luke Falk will be the third string. And I think eventually Luke Falk will become the backup quarterback for this Tennessee Titan team. And that's going to be a pretty good situation for us to be in. Of course, Luke Falk still has to learn to play under center, kind of like Marcus Mariota. So I think that dynamic will help each other out too, because Marcus had to learn the same thing. So that can help Luke Falk in a lot of ways too. So I definitely like the way that looks. Next up, let's go to the running back position, and this has been a very big topic as of late, is how the running back's going to do. As you heard from Cory Curtis earlier, Derrick Henry has quite a bit to work on, and I mean, he still has some things that he has to work out as far as pass blocking, catching out of the backfield, as I mentioned earlier. That's going to be a very big part to him, seeing if he takes the reins and became the lead back of this team. I mean, he doesn't have DeMarco Murray to worry about anymore. Yes, he has Dion Lewis behind him, but Dion Lewis is more of a compliment to him. He'll come in on pass downs. He can come in. He can run in between the tackles too. But, I mean, I think there's going to be a lot of times where you see Derrick Henry and Dion Lewis out there at the same time. So that is something that I don't think Derrick Henry has to worry about. He just needs to focus on him and he becoming a better running back. Running with his, lowering his shoulder to, bang in some linebackers and, take away some tackles, be able to cut and bob and weave through the line and get to the second and third level. Also, he needs to make sure he doesn't just run upright. He runs with a low center of gravity so that, when they go for the legs, that he's not easily taken down from that or loses yards. He's got to be able to be explosive on short yardage situations. That's what we're going to need him for the most, is when it's 3rd and 2 or 3rd and 1, something like that. That's going to be extremely huge going forward for this team. Also, of course, like I said, Dion Lewis is definitely going to be a compliment to him. He got paid pretty good. He's going to be a very nice backup piece to Derrick Henry. They're going to work together, and I believe Matt LaFleur has said it. They're like 1A and 1B, so you really don't lose anything with that. Now, it could very well depend on matchups as far as who starts, which game. Both of them are going to play a significant role and a significant amount of snaps. But I think Derrick Henry will be starting for the most part. Dion Lewis comes in as a change of pace. You got David Fluellen. He's been the third running back for the last few years, but this year he's going to have to fight because he's going to have Akrum Watley coming up behind him. And Akrum Watley has made a case in the offseason that he could be the third running back and push David Fluellen on out. Now, David Fluellen has been helpful on special teams, which has been a big reason why he's made the team the last couple of years. But Akrum Watley, he was a very productive back out of Iowa. He was an undrafted free agent. You could go back and look at the show where I did some interviews with some of the rookies. I interviewed Akrum Watley, and he is very, very focused. He is the guy that says, hey, I want to do anything to help this team. I want to make he wants to make an impact and be a part of this team. So David Fluellen, he better watch out. Flu season might be over, and Akrum Watley could take his spot. I think he's a dark horse to make the team. So we're going to have to definitely see about that. But moving on now to the tight end position, there's really not much to discuss here. We know Delaney Walker is going into a contract year. He's at that age where I believe he's turned 34 at some point of the season. So the Titans have to decide, are they going to keep Delaney Walker until he retires as a Titan, or are they going to be ready to turn over the reins to Jonnu Smith? I think it all depends on how this happens this year. If Jonnu Smith shows any kind of improvement over last year, they may say, you know what, Delaney, we love you, but we're going to hand the reins over to Jonnu Smith. But he's got to prove it. Jonnu Smith isn't just going to take over as the next tight end with Delaney Walker there. Delaney Walker's not going to give it up that easily. And, Delaney Walker, given that his first 7 years in the league, he was mainly a backup, so he really didn't have to play a whole lot at that time. And ever since then, he's been nothing but a star with the Tennessee Titans. So I think with him, being a backup and not playing as much in San Francisco, I think he still has about a good 3 to 4 years left in him. So, he may not be going nowhere for any time soon. We'll have to see what the contract comes out to. And I think Delaney Walker will probably do some type of team-friendly deal. He's always been a team player. He loves it here. I think he wants to finish his career here. Behind that, of course, like I said, Jonnu Smith, he has to improve. He has to improve his blocking. He has to improve his route running. And he has some things he has to work on, but I think he could be a very, very solid number 2. And, there could be some time where Delaney Walker doesn't have to play as much. Jonnu Smith can fill in right there, and they don't miss a beat. Also, you got Luke Stocker and Philip Supernall. I thought Philip Supernall was going to be cut a long time ago. He is still on his team. Of course, he is helpful on special teams, but sometimes he could be a penalty machine, and I don't like that. Luke Stocker, very good blocker from Tampa Bay. They re-signed him to a multi-year deal, so we're going to see what he's made of. Can he make an impact that maybe help? There may be some, heavy formations that they go, especially in short yardage situations, that could be definitely beneficial. Maybe have 3 tight ends out there. But I don't know how much of an impact Stocker and Supernall are going to be. I think this is mainly going to be about Delaney Walker and Jonnu Smith going forward, but we'll definitely see how the tight ends look. I think they'll carry 3 tight ends in this situation. I don't know if they'll carry 4. We'll see about that. Much like the running backs. I think in the running back room, they'll carry only 3 running backs. They're not going to carry 4. Next up, I say we definitely talk about the position that I think is going to have a lot of questions going into the training camp, and probably something that a lot of people want to see. Corey alluded to it earlier with the wide receivers. Rashard Matthews has been, he hasn't practiced much at all during the mini camp and during OTAs. They've held him out. Corey Davis has practiced some, but he hasn't really just practiced a whole lot, especially in the open periods, but he has practiced some. Taywan Taylor and Tajay Sharp are coming back. Sharp, this is a big off season for him because he's got to prove he is back from that leg injury that he suffered that put him out all of last year. Taywan Taylor's got to prove he knows the routes. He's got to prove that he can be smarter. I think this offense will fit better for him. He can run a little bit more free, and he'll be able to operate in space as well. And then, of course, you got Campanero and Nick Williams. And that was a guy that Cory alluded to earlier was Nick Williams, I think out of Atlanta. He was with LaFleur in Atlanta, running that offense, so that may be something that could help in the end. He could be of some tutelage, maybe like a Harry Douglas was before, because he was very familiar with the offense as well. And then, of course, you got a couple of rookies in Jordan Vesey, Deontay Burnett, and Devin Ross. These three guys have been the receivers they have really talked quite a bit about, especially Vesey being a dark horse to make this team. He said he has made plays all over the field in OTAs and in training camp, so he could be a definite player in this system. Also, Deontay Burnett, he's a guy that I picked as a dark horse way back in the spring. And then Devin Ross could provide some competition. We're definitely going to see what happens there with the wide receiver. But I think that is going to be a very, very big focus this offseason. Can Corey Davis step up and be that number one receiver for Marcus? Can Rashard Matthews build on his last couple of years? And does Tajay Sharp come back to form? Can Taywan Taylor take a step forward? And which one of these rookies could possibly make this team? I think they're going to end up with 6 receivers on this team, and we're going to need every last one of them. Vesey or Burnett, they're going to have to be able to help on special teams. That's something that Campanero and Nick Williams are very good at. So we're going to have to see about that, but I think it'll be Matthews, Davis, Sharp, Taylor, either Williams or Campanero, and maybe one of the rookies makes the team. I think that's going to be the 6. And last but not least, we got the big hogs, the offensive line. This is going to be a new system for them as well. And, first of all, we discussed the elephant in the room earlier, Taylor Lewan. He has not been signed to a new deal. He held out of many camps. We don't know if he's going to hold out for training camp. We haven't heard anything yet about that. We're hoping that the two sides come to an agreement before training camp. I think a deal will get done before training camp gets started because 77 wants to be out there. He loves two-tone blue. He loves Nashville. He just got married. He has his wife and his baby girl. I think he loves being here. He wants to have his entire career here, and I think the Titans want him back too. So I think they're going to work that out, give him the money, make him the highest paid offensive lineman or the highest paid tackle. And I think they're trying to set this up right because they know they got to re-sign him. And then, of course, next year is Marcus Mariota and Kevin Byard are going to be coming up. So that's going to be something that's very important too. They're going to have to play this out right. They cannot mess this up because, as Cory alluded to, other players are going to be watching this like saying, hey, if they treat this guy right, maybe they'll treat me right. Or they say like, okay, Dad, they're not treating him right. Maybe I don't need to resign here or something like that. So this situation is very, very important for John Robinson, and he's got to play this right as far as making sure Taylor Lewan comes back, and then, of course, Marcus Mariota and Kevin Byard. But speaking of the rest of the line, we not only have a question about our left tackle, we got a question about our right tackle with Jack Conklin. And as Cory said, he may begin the season on the PUP, the physically unable to perform list. He's probably not going to do anything in the preseason. I'm not sure if he's going to be ready to go week 1, but I would not be surprised if he is ready to go week 1. I think he's going to miss maybe the first couple of games. Dennis Kelly has proven he can step in very well, so they're not going to rush Jack Conklin back before he's ready. You're going to have Lewan on one side, Dennis Kelly on the other side. He's been very serviceable and been very well. This is a big year for Quentin Spain. Can he play in a zone blocking scheme? Josh Klein just got a new deal, just got paid. They figure he's probably better for the zone blocking scheme. We're going to find that out. Ben Jones, he had a down year. He's got to bounce back. He's got to show that he could be the center of this Tennessee Titan offense. And then you got guys coming up behind like Kevin Pephill and Xavier Suafilo and Corey Levin, who are coming up behind these guys, to really give some competition. So I think there's going to be a lot of competition at the guard spots. And I think also, we're going to see if Dennis Kelly can really step up. This is going to show how long they're going to hold Jack Conklin out with preseason and the regular season as well. We're going to see how that works out. But I think the starting five will remain intact with Dennis Kelly starting for Jack Conklin until he returns. And then, of course, Dennis Kelly will be that that third tackle that comes off. And also, I would say with Dennis Kelly, he can also play guard. So, I mean, if Quinn Spain has any trouble, Dennis Kelly can slide into guard as well. So, I mean, this could be something big for him going forward as well as making his play. But I think his primary position is going to be tackle. So that's something that will be ongoing with that. But before we do get out of here, definitely want to mention one other thing. The Igniting the Fire series that's been going on. I meant to mention this earlier. I really like the Igniting the Fire series. I've watched all 5 episodes. I like the episode with Kerry Coombs with the defensive backs. Very, very energetic. I think the guys really love him. I think he could be a future defensive coordinator, if you ask me. Whenever Dean Pease steps down, it's probably going to be some years before that happens. But I'm just saying, as far as going forward, definitely like the linebacker episode that just happened recently, because it really talks about what Mike Vrabel being hands-on with the linebackers and how they like having one coach for the inside linebackers as well as a coach for the outside linebackers. I really do like the series. Now, I do wish they kind of cut out all this stuff about some of the other people within the organization. That's maybe not as important. I mean, they had an episode where they, talked about the equipment manager. They had an episode where they were talking about the dietitian, which, I mean, all these people play an important role. The equipment manager plays an important role, making sure that the players have the cleats that they need, that the jerseys are clean, and that everything is set up for the gear and the wardrobe and stuff like that. The dietitian makes sure that the players are eating right, making sure that they're having the proper protein and the proper nutrients to play successfully in the NFL. And in this last episode, they really mentioned the strength and conditioning coach, which is extremely important, because not only do they build strength and they're conditioned well to get through a 16-game year, but they have got to be able to prevent injuries. And last year we had a whole rash of hamstring injuries. So I really like the Igniting the Fire series. I know some others maybe don't. Definitely check it out. It's on Facebook Watch. It's also been on YouTube. So definitely check that out there. And last but not least, before we do get out of here, there was this thing with Colin Cowherd where he came out and basically said that this team will go 6-10 next year and that the Texans will win the division. He couldn't be further from the truth. I think this team will be a lot better than he is. I'm not going to waste a lot of time with that. I think this team could potentially be 10-6 or 11-5. I think the ceiling is 11-5. I think the floor is 9-7. I think you have to at least be 9-7, got to get into the playoffs, but we want to win divisions. I think that's going to be the most important thing. But that's all the time I have for y'all tonight. Thank y'all for tuning in to Titans and Truth. Definitely follow, subscribe to the channel. Definitely follow the Titans and Truth page. I think I'm going to have a new name for it, the TNT Enforcers. Follow that on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. You see it down right below. Definitely check me out. Check out the website. Definitely get in touch with me. We got a lot of big things coming. If you got any questions or want to hit me up about the Titans, let me know. I'm glad to talk to everybody, and I will hit y'all up soon. I'll holler. Titans of Truth, I'm out.